Good evening, you're watching Primetime News on TV1 live and direct from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Jadabdeen.
And I'm Mariam Ganavijaya. We start off with a look at the stories that made headlines tonight.
Budget debate concludes. President announces favorable turning point for Sri Lanka and people. Sri Lanka Air Force training aircraft crashes. Pilot safe. 6 including former CCDOIC ordered to be arrested along with Deshabandhu produced in court. 420 local government nominations rejected. What's happening to the Batalanda Commission report? JVP Secretary Tilvin responds. Mahinda Jayasinghe reveals information about land in Imbulgoda.
In our top story tonight, the third reading of the appropriation bill or the 2025 budget was passed in Parliament today with a majority of 114 votes. While 159 votes were cast in favour, 45 MPs cast their votes against the budget. Now, President Anurukumara Dissanayake presented the budget speech to Parliament on the 10th of February.
President Anurukumara Dissanayake says that the government is working to make changes for economic prosperity in a manner that is beneficial to the country and its people. He made this statement while participating in the budget debate this evening. The President also clarified matters regarding the government's salary increments and tax policies.
මේ ගමන් කරමින් තිබුණු ආර්ථික ගමන තීරණාත්මක ලෙස අලුත් හැරවුමකට භාජනය කළ යුතුයි කියලා විශ්වාස කරනවා.
This is a political movement that believes that the economic journey we have embarked on should reach a favorable turning point and works towards achieving that goal. However, we also have an understanding on how to reach that turning point. If we have a healthy, crisis-free economy, that turnaround would be a speedy one. If the economy is at a dangerous point, that goal will have to be achieved relatively slowly and with much caution. Therefore, we understand your urgency. We will reach this turning point by implementing economic policies in a way that is healthy for both the country and its citizens. What should we do first in order to achieve this goal? This economic situation needs to be stabilized. If this is not done, an economy that has been through multiple crises would not withstand such a turnaround. A vehicle with no wheels cannot be turned around. We first need to fix the wheels. Therefore, we are very cautiously taking steps to stabilize the country's economy. On one hand, we were handed over a country that was officially bankrupt. The total revenue was 4,990 billion rupees. Interest payments, salary payments for the state sector and payment of pensions amounted to 4,744 billion rupees. We were left with only 256 billion rupees. This is the situation of the economy. By the time we took over, the discourse was on if this was healthy or not. By the time we took over the country, we had also entered into an extended fund facility agreement with the IMF. We had two options. Either we had to continue our EFF agreement with the IMF or we had to terminate the agreement. You thought we would terminate it. However, we will not fall in that trap. These are all traps. We know that given the current economic situation, any slight mistake on our part would lead to grave and severe consequences. That is how sensitive the economy is. After all, this is the country that you ruled before us. We didn't create this situation. The economy you handed over to us was extremely volatile and even the slightest mistake could lead to grave consequences. Therefore, I must say that you have committed grave mistakes, heavily damaged the country, and as a government, when we have to restabilize the economy, we must ensure that not even the slightest error is made in the process. We have done that. By now, can anyone say that the economy is not stable? No. Firstly, we were officially announced to be out of bankruptcy on the 21st December last year. Officially, up to the 21st of December, we were a country that evaded repayment of loans. After the 21st of December, we still haven't resumed loan payments, but we had reached an agreement in that regard. Isn't there a difference? We are now a country that has reached agreements with debtors and creditors. That is stability. There were many hardships that state sector employees and private sector employees were facing. A massive portion of their salaries were being cut as taxes. We increased the threshold from 100,000 rupees to 150,000 rupees. 1.8 million rupees will be entirely free. Then, for the next 500,000 rupees, it will be 6%. Previously, it was 12% for the 500,000 rupees after that. That is also now 6%. For the next 500,000 rupees, it will be 18%. Someone earning 150,000 rupees will not have to pay any taxes at all. One who earns 200,000 rupees will be relieved of 72% of the taxes. Someone exceeding the threshold of 36% will enjoy a tax reduction of 20,500 rupees. This will come into effect in April. Keep in mind that the government will have to incur a loss of 50 to 60 billion rupees due to this. Tax revenue that the government received last year will be lost. However, that 50 to 60 billion rupees will be redistributed to the public. However, next arose an issue in several sectors. The health sector had a system to calculate overtime payments and extra duty allowances. The amount for doctors was calculated by dividing the basic salary by 80. For nurses, it was divided by 160. However, when the initial salary of doctors at that time was divided by 80 and the basic salary is now divided by 120, the answer you would get for the current salary would still be higher. That is how much we have increased the basic salary. There was some public discourse on this. Well, we can amend it then. This calculation is being done on the salary they would receive in January 2027. The division by 120 will not be carried out on the basic salary for April this year. It is the final full salary that will be divided by 120. We are fine with bringing a certain amendment to this. We will divide by 80 the salary of those whose salaries were initially divided by 80 and give back 2/3 of it. There will be no division by 120. We will leave the 80 as it is. The division by 120 was increased to 160 by us. We can leave that also at 120 and give back 4/3 or a 3/4 of it. The division by 160 was increased to 200 by us. We can leave that also at 160 and give them back 4/5 of it.
160 200 වුණානේ. 200 කරන්නේ නැතු 160ෙන්ම බෙදලා 5න් 4ක් ලබා දෙනවා.
Meanwhile, President Anurukumara Dissanayake met with the commander of the United States Indo-Pacific Command, Admiral Samuel Paparo, earlier today.
A meeting between President Anurukumara Dissanayake and Admiral Samuel J. Paparo, the commander of the United States Indo-Pacific Command, was held today at the President's office. The meeting was attended by Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism Vijita Hera and the US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chung. During the meeting with President Anurukumara Dissanayake, Commander of the United States Indo-Pacific Command, Admiral Samuel J. Paparo extended his best wishes to President Dissanayake and the new government on their planned initiatives. He also acknowledged Sri Lanka's continued support in ensuring the security of the Indian Ocean region and maintaining a peaceful maritime environment. Commander of the US Indo-Pacific Command, Admiral Samuel Paparo, called on the Defense Secretary Air Vice Marshal Sampath Tuyakonta at the Defense Ministry. During the meeting, both sides engaged in discussions on strengthening bilateral defense cooperation and regional security initiatives. They emphasized the importance of maintaining peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region through collaborative efforts and mutual understanding. Air Vice Marshal Tuyakonta expressed his appreciation for the long-standing defense partnership between Sri Lanka and the United States. Admiral Paparo reaffirmed the US commitment to enhancing defense ties with Sri Lanka and acknowledged the country's strategic position in the Indo-Pacific region.
Commander of the United States Indo-Pacific Command, Admiral Samuel J. Paparo, emphasized the strategic importance of Sri Lanka in the Indo-Pacific region. Speaking at the National Defense College, Admiral Paparo highlighted Sri Lanka's pivotal role at the crossroads of the Indian Ocean, underscoring its influence of maritime activities crucial to the entire Pacific.
Sri Lanka's key position at the crossroads of the Indian Ocean is strategically vital. These shores border key sea lanes that connect the Pacific to the Indian Ocean to all seas. And this geography allows Sri Lanka to influence maritime activities crucial to the entire Pacific. I recognize the outstanding contributions Sri Lanka has made to international security, from peacekeeping missions demonstrating professionalism to leadership in Combined Task Force 154, a point of particularly pride for me, to the vital role in Operation Prosperity Guardian, protecting freedom of navigation. This leadership showcases values and capabilities that make Sri Lanka an essential partner. Your leadership is important. Your voice is important, as is your professionalism. And our partnership is important for the entire region's future. Security is not about hardware or technology. It's about trusted partnerships that are based on mutual respect. And that's why this relationship between the United States, Sri Lanka, and the other partners in the room, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and like-minded partners, is absolutely critical. We back our commitments with action, with shared intelligence capabilities, with joint and combined exercises, with professional military education, with advanced technology partnerships, and we together deliver real security results. We all recognize that securing these vast waters requires collaborative effort from all regional partners committed to peace and stability. It's not about choosing sides. It's about building a region where all nations exercise sovereign rights without intimidation and where dialogue resolves disputes.
Admiral Samuel Paparo, who arrived in the country on Wednesday, engaged with members of the National Defence College on Thursday.
In other news making headlines tonight, a training aircraft of the Sri Lanka Air Force crashed in Variapola this morning. The aircraft that crashed was a K-8 advanced jet training aircraft utilized for training by the Sri Lanka Air Force. The K-8 advanced jet trainer aircraft assigned to the No. 5 Fighter Squadron at the Katunayake Air Base was being used for advanced pilot training when it encountered an emergency. The aircraft took off from Katunayake at approximately 7:27 a.m. On board were Chief Training Instructor Wing Commander Sudarshana Bandara and Flying Officer Sachit Daulagala. Both officers ejected safely from the aircraft using parachutes. Both officers ejected safely from the aircraft using parachutes. The K-8 advanced jet training aircraft crashed in Variapola and subsequently caught fire, resulting in the complete destruction of the aircraft. Flying officer Sachit Daulagala, who ejected from the plane mid-flight, landed safely in a paddy field in Sundaragama, about 4 kilometers from the crash site. Meanwhile, Wing Commander Sudarshana Bandara's parachute landed on the road near Sundaragama School, where he suffered only minor injuries. Both pilots were soon taken to the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital for treatment. Following the crash, the commander of the Air Force, Air Marshal Bandhu Edrisinghe, has appointed a 7-member special investigation committee to conduct an inquiry into the incident.
The 6 suspects involved in the shooting incident at the W15 hotel in Waligama, Mathura in 2023 were granted release on 2 surety bonds of 200,000 rupees each. This decision was made after they were produced before the Mathura Magistrates Court today.
The Mathura magistrate ordered the suspects to submit statements to the Criminal Investigation Department tomorrow as part of the ongoing inquiries into the shooting incident. On the 28th of February, the Mathura Magistrates Court issued arrest warrants for 8 individuals, including IGP Deshabandhu Tennakon, in connection with the shooting incident on the 31st of December 2023 that led to the death of an officer from the Colombo Crimes Division. In addition to the suspended IGP, the court also ordered the arrest of 8 other individuals, including Anselm De Silva, the officer in charge of the Colombo Crimes Division. 20 days after the warrant was issued, Deshabandhu Tennakon filed a motion and surrendered to the Mathura Magistrates Court the day before yesterday, where he was remanded until the 3rd of April. The court was notified by investigating officers that one of the suspects, against whom a warrant had been issued, is currently abroad. The Court of Appeal today revisited the writ petition filed by former Colombo Crime Division Chief Neville De Silva and 6 others seeking an order to prevent their arrest. During the hearing before Justice Gihan Kulathunga, Deputy Solicitor General Maheshika De Silva, representing the respondents, stated that they opposed continuing the previous agreement not to arrest the petitioners. She emphasized that since the suspects have already surrendered to the Mathura Magistrates Court, there is no need to maintain the petition. President's Counsel Laraj De Silva, representing the petitioners, argued that Neville De Silva has not yet been named as a suspect in the case. He requested that the previous agreement be upheld until further notice. He also suggested that the petition be called for confirmation of facts within a short period. Deputy Solicitor General Maheshika De Silva agreed to maintain the previous agreement regarding Neville De Silva only until the next court date. After considering the arguments from both sides, the Justice decided not to extend the agreement for the other officers and scheduled the petition for confirmation of facts on the 26th of March.
The issue regarding Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Tennakon was discussed in Parliament today.
Recently, as you know, Minister Watagala visited someone's home and had a conversation with him. I have a picture of that. On top of that, ministers have been influencing the Excise Commissioner and I have photos to prove it. Alright, I'll send them. When the IGP was about to be arrested, what did the Public Security Minister say? He claimed they tried to arrest him and seize his property, which is why he surrendered. So what happened after that? After he surrendered, Dilip Piris went on to say the IGP didn't even have the right to vote, that his name wasn't even registered. He doesn't even have a food cycle. The Deputy Solicitor General called him a ghost. Who protected him all this time? Minister Watagala says they know exactly where the IGP is and that they'll arrest him when the time is right. For the first time, Deputy Speaker, the Solicitor General is saying he won't handle this case anymore because of security concerns and his juniors will take over. That is how far the law has fallen. Please look into this. I'll wrap up my remarks here.
Please wind up.
The law is being followed. After going through the proper procedures under sections 60, 61 and 62 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, he appeared before the court. I just want to remind everyone that the opposition shouldn't spread these false claims. I never said I know where Sewandi or Deshabandhu Tennakona. What I said is that actions are being taken in accordance with the law.
සම්බන්ධයෙන් ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන බව තමයි කියලා තියෙන්නේ නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා කියලා. ඔය ෆෝන් එක පොළවේ ගහන්න තු තියන්නකො. ඕක හැන්සාට් කරන්න. ඒ ෆෝන් එක හැන්සාට් කරන්න එපා ඈ. මොකද ඕකේ තියෙන ඒවා අර්ජුන එලෝසියස් විකාරය කරනවා. මෙතුමා කියපු ප්‍රකාශයේ රූපවාහිනියට ගිහලා මම මේ බොරු සමාජගත කරන්නේ නැහැ. මම ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා කරුණාකරලා ඒක සභාගත කරන්න. දැන් මේ දවස් ගානකට දේශබන්දු අත්අඩංගුවට ගත්තේ නැත්තේයි කියලා අභියෝග කරන කට්ටිය.
The people who are questioning why Deshabandhu wasn't arrested for days are the same ones who gave him a place to stay, gave him ministerial positions and helped him maintain governments. They suppress the people. Today lawyers, judges and the Solicitor General can speak freely. But think about it. What would have happened if they had spoken like this under the Rajapaksa government? If Deshabandhu had been called a thug back then, would he have survived? Who gave the officials the courage to speak out today? We all remember how it was in the past when Chamal Rajapaksa was here. People would literally shake when he turned around. The truth is, they were terrified. Even when the speaker was in the room, if Basil Rajapaksa stood up, everyone sat down. It wasn't just in parliament. When they went to the restroom, they followed Mahinda Rajapaksa. When they went to the canteen, they surrounded Namal Baby. Now, why are those who were so intimidated before standing up proudly and speaking from the opposition? It is because of your humility.
President's Counsel Saleh Peris pointed out that it is up to the Attorney General to decide whether to file charges or conduct further investigations according to the contents of the Batalanda Commission report. He expressed these views last night during the Mavata program on our sister channel Sirasa TV. Under Section 2 of the Commissions of Inquiry Act No. 17 of 1948, then President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga appointed the Batalanda Commission. This was to investigate the disappearances and the illegal detentions of individuals during the 1988-1990 period and the operation of detention centres under the Batalanda housing scheme. Despite several extensions granted by the then President to conduct investigations, no further action was taken regarding the report. When former President Ranil Wickremesinghe was questioned by an Al Jazeera journalist about these crimes, he responded that the relevant commission report had not been tabled in Parliament. However, this report was tabled in Parliament last week.
This report cannot directly punish anyone. The Attorney General must decide whether to file charges or conduct further investigations based on its contents. Except for crimes punishable by death, other crimes have a statute of limitations. Crimes cannot be prosecuted after 20 years. This legal situation exists. Practically, there are many questions about whether the witnesses mentioned in the report are still alive and able to testify in court. Murder is not subject to a statute of limitations, but abduction and torture are. These must be proven beyond reasonable doubt in court.
There is still living evidence of the existence of the Batalanda torture chamber and the abductions that took place. Ananda Jaikodi, who now works as a court reporter, was also abducted and tortured at Batalanda. Jaikodi was abducted on the 6th of September 1988 at the Kalagedi-Hener junction.
පයෙන් අරපාරේ කලගඩි හේනට අරපාරය. එතකොට මේ නුවර පාර පටුයි තනි මන්තිරුව මෙතන බස් නැවතුම්පොළ නුවර දෙසට ඒකේ සංඝබෝධි යන දරුවෝ විශාල ප්‍රමාණයක් හිටියා. දරුවෝ අතර ඒ පාසල් යන දරුවෝ අතර සිල් ඇඳිමින් සැරසිච්ච ත්‍රස්තයෝ ටිකක් හිටියා රාජ්‍ය ත්‍රස්තවාදීන් ටිකක්. මම කෝකටත් මෙතන තේ කඩයක් තිබුණා. මම මුංව නොමගාරින්න ඕන හින්දා මම කහට එකක් දාන්න කියලා පාර පැන්න ෆයිල් බෑග් එකක් අතේ තියන්න. පයින්නකොට මා පිටිපස්සෙන් අර පැත්තේ ඉඳලා එකෙක් පැන්න. පයින්නකොට මම බෑග් එකෙන් බලන්නෙම නැතුව බෑග් එකෙන් ගැව්වා. තාපුවා මූ පාර මැද්දේ වැටුණා. මම ඊට පස්සේ මේකේ පැනලා දිව්වා. දුවන අර හරියේදී තමයි මට වෙඩි තියන්නේ. අර හරියේදී වෙඩි තියලා ඔන් ඔය හරියේදී උඩදී වෙඩි තියන්නේ. උඩදී වෙඩි තියලා බිම දිගේ තමයි ඇදගෙන ආවේ.
Dr. A.P. Karnaratne, an Ayurvedic doctor from Attanagala, was a police officer in charge of the weapon storage at the Batalanda torture chamber. Now 96 years old, he still suffers mentally, recalling his minor involvement in these crimes.
තුවක්කු 10ද 15ද හැමදාම ගේනවා. මම ඒ ටික බාර ගන්නවා. ඔය ආපහු හැන්දෑවට බාර දෙනවා.
කොහොමද දෙන්න තරමතරමියෝ ගෙනාවේ?
වෑන් වල ගේනවා, ජීප් වල ගේනවා. එකක් කියලා නැහැ. මම දැක්ක ගේනවා. ඔය තෑයින කලගිරීමක් ගෙමින්නවා. දැන් උනත් මේ කලගිරීම තියෙනවා. අල්ලායි අම්මා බලන්න ඕනේ කියනවා. අම්මා කියනකොට අපිටත් අම්මා කෙනෙක් වුණා. නින්දට ගියාම ඒ දවස්වල පේනවා මට හීනෙන් පේනවා. ගානවා මල කෑ ගහනවා.
පුදුවදරක් හදලා පූජා කරලා යම් තියෙන්නේ. මේ පවයන් ටික නිකන් අර සම්බන්ධ වුණානේ ඉතින්. එල්ලෙන් ඉවත් නැතාවම. මම අර එයාට මෙයාට යන්න සම්බන්ධ වුණානේ ඉතින්. මෙයාට වරෙල්ලා. එයාට එයාට යනකොට කොහෙද උඹලා එන්නේ ඔය මේ මෙතන පරයල්ල ගියාමුගේ.
Such eyewitness evidence can still be identified. The question now is whether to let this report be buried by the sands of time or to seek justice for at least the murders that occurred.
What we see through these commission reports is that they need to be brought to a clear state. The current government has the responsibility to transform this country into a new political culture. These commission reports show us a very important aspect of this cultural transformation. We need to take the next steps. We are still talking about the Easter tax. The inquiry into the Easter tax is not over. It is not just the bond scam. There was also a commission to investigate fraud and corruption. Parliament has these reports. Justice must be served for all these unfinished tasks. It is essential for the dignity and respect of our state.
ගෞරවය පිළිබඳ තත්ත්වයට ඉතාම අවශ්‍යයි.
What steps will the government take with regard to the Batalanda Commission report?
Batalanda Commission වාර්තාවේ පිටුවන්ගේ 108 සමාප්තියේ 108 තියෙනවා ජනතා විමුක්තිය ඊට සම්බන්ධ සංවිධානවල සමාජික චිත්‍රවල රසවාදී කොමිසම අනුමත කරන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. ඔබතුමාලා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහට විරුද්ධව විමර්ශනයක් කරනවා නම් ජීවිතේකට විමර්ශනයක් කරනවා සම්බන්ධයි.
මම හිතන්නේ බටලන්ත කොමිසමේ වාක්‍ය තැන් තැන් කරලා ගත්තම ඔය කාටවත් පැටලෙනවා.
I think that anyone can get confused by fragmented sentences from the Batalanda Commission report. I suggest asking them to read the entire report. What does the entire report say from the beginning? The Janata Vimukti Peramunu, which engaged in democratic politics, was banned. They were unjustly banned, claiming they were involved in Black July, but nothing was proven. No one was implicated. Instead, all those arrested in connection with Black July were United National Party activists. Then the ban imposed on the JVP and other parties was continued. Then the Indo-Sri Lanka Accord was signed, bringing about repression. There was no way to respond democratically to that repression and anti-democratic actions. You couldn't hold democratic meetings, you couldn't hold parades, you couldn't speak. That is when the response came in a different way. That is in the report. So we have said before that there was a civil war and things that shouldn't have happened within it. Therefore, we believe that in any conflict, the victims shouldn't bear the responsibility. The responsibility should lie with those who created the environment for the conflict. The UNP created that environment. The UNP banned parties. The UNP censored the media, played Lampu Kalagedi games or the referendum, and postponed elections. The UNP repressed people. The UNP killed workers. The UNP banned May Day. After doing all that, I don't think it is fair to talk about the response of those who were oppressed as a result. Therefore, let's see when we examine this commission report, who will have to take responsibility for it.
කාටද ඒකන වාක්‍යයන් සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ කියලා.
ඒකට මේ සම්බන්ධව තීරණ ගන්නවා නම් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා තීරණ ගන්නවා නම් මුතුමාලාගේ සිද්ධ වෙච්ච දේවල් සම්බන්ධව විමර්ශනයක් කරනවා කියන එක තමයි ප්‍රශ්නේ.
කාගෙන්ද සිද්ධ වුනේ කියන එක නේ ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ. මේ සිදුවීම් සම්බන්ධ.
The question isn't about who did it. The issue is that there needs to be an investigation into this incident. Janata Vimukti Peramuna didn't run torture camps anywhere. They were the ones who ran the torture camps. We were the ones who were tortured. We were the ones who had to hide. We were the ones who went to prisons and were killed. They were the ones who assassinated opponents outside of the JVP. There needs to be an investigation into this entire history. We have only been in power for 5 months. Our first priority was to alleviate the people's hunger and rebuild the collapsed economy. There are many things to do. After that, I think we need to investigate all the crimes that happened in this country in the past, not just that period, but also the recent past. The assassination of Lasantha Wickrematunge, the murder of Tajuddin, the attacks and abductions of journalists, the burning of media institutions, all these need to be investigated. We will do that. But right now the issue is about the Batalanda Commission report. Ranil Wickremesinghe hadn't presented anything to Parliament, but now it was presented to Parliament. It has been tabled. And now, based on that, further legal action will be taken.
News First with the people.
News First, main sponsor.
Welcome back to the news. Deputy Minister of Labour Mahinda Jayasinghe commented in Parliament today regarding the incident of him entering a land in Imbulgoda Gampaha and the reports published about it. The Deputy Minister also revealed facts on the ownership of the relevant land.
පසුගිය දිනක ඉඹුල්ගොඩ ප්‍රදේශයේ පැවති ඉනමකට ඇතුල් වීමක් සම්බන්ධයෙන් තමයි මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ මතුවුනේ.
This issue arose regarding an entry into a land in the Imbulgoda area a few days ago. I need to emphasize one thing very clearly. The news reports said I forcibly entered a temple. However, none of these deeds mention that the land belongs to a temple. I will explain about a few of these lands. On the 12th of March 2012, several lands were acquired. One land belongs to Mr. K.D. Parakramayagoda of Ihalayagoda, Imbulgoda. That land was acquired by the Homagama Diyagama Mahinda Rajapaksa Sports and Spiritual Development Foundation for 500,000 rupees. Later, that land was sold for 1 million rupees. Similarly, on the 2nd of March 2013, the same happened with several other lands. One such land belonged to H.T. Thamira Premachandra, H.T. Premachandra and N.L. Swarnalata, residents of number 317 Ihala Imbulgoda. This land was acquired by someone named Shiranthi Wickramasinghe Rajapaksa, residing at number 19 Carlton House, Tangol Road. Her ID number is 53314V. I checked if this Shiranthi Rajapaksa and the Shiranthi Rajapaksa we know were the same person. This land was acquired for 500,000 rupees. Another land belongs to a resident of Tambiligasmulla, Markula North Road. That land was also acquired by Mrs. Shiranthi Wickramasinghe Rajapaksa, residing at number 19 Carlton House, Tangol Road. Her ID number is 5352. In this way, Honourable Speaker, I table all these deeds. None of these deeds mention the name of a temple or a monk. All these lands were reassigned on the 10th of October 2023. These deeds mention that all these lands were transferred to Mr. Amila Samararatna Kodikara, residing at number 132A SDS Jayasingha Mawatha Nugegoda. These lands, which were acquired for 500,000 and 1 million rupees, were sold for 120 million rupees. This is the true story of the land in question. Due to this, the residents of the area had a serious problem regarding the acquisition of these lands. Some of the deeds were written at temple trees. The deeds for these lands were written inside temple trees. These deeds clearly show that none of these lands belong to a temple or a monk. There is a board that says Buddhist Center. That is the real story of these lands.
මේ ඔප්පු ලියලා තියෙන්නේ මේ පත්තිරුවලින් ඊටාම පැහැදිලි වෙනවා මේ ඉඩම් කිසිවක් පන්සලකට හෝ ස්වාමින් වහන්සේ නමකට හිමි කාර්යත්වයක් නැහැ. එතන බෝඩ් එකක් ගහලා තිබෙනවා බෞද්ධ මධ්‍යස්ථානික. උන්ට ඕක තමයි මේ ඇත්ත කතාව.
The local government election Sri Lanka 2025.
In more local news, Commissioner General of Elections Samantri Ratnakar said that approximately 420 nomination papers submitted for the upcoming local government elections have been rejected.
The nomination process was conducted for 336 local government institutions. Out of the total number of over 2,900 nomination papers, 420 were rejected during the nomination acceptance phase. The rejection of nomination papers is carried out by the nomination board in accordance with Section 28 of the Act. Any nomination paper that does not comply with the written law is rejected under Section 31, which informs the rejection based on non-compliance with Section 28.
Both nomination papers submitted by the Samagi Janabala Vege for the Aturaliya and Akurasa Pradeshi Sabhas in the Mathur district have been rejected.
Even though we submitted the required birth certificates as part of this youth representation to everyone involved, including the NPP and Ranil Wickramasinghe who govern the country, the nominations were still rejected. We are definitely taking legal action over this. Our lawyers are already working closely with the election office on the matter. We are also asking the election commission to provide a written explanation for why our nomination papers were rejected.
Colombo mayoral candidate Vrai Kali Balthasar visited the old Kadiresan Vajrapillar Kovil in Bambalapitiya today to obtain blessings for her upcoming election campaign.
දැන් මන්ත්‍රී ධූර කීයක් තියෙනවද කොළඹ මහනගර සභාවේ 113ක් තියෙනවා කීයක් ගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවද
අපේ කොටාෂ තියෙනවා 47කේ 47ම දිනන්න අපි සූදානම් ඉතින් 113ම අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් නම් මං හිතන්නේ ඒක තමයි වඩාත්ම හොඳ.
What is the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna strategy for the upcoming local government elections?
ජනාධිපතිවරණයේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මැතිවරණයේදී විශාල පසුබෑමකට
We faced significant setbacks in both the presidential and parliamentary elections. However, the situation has completely changed today. Regarding the local government elections 2 years ago, when the announcement was made, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was in a difficult position, struggling to find candidates. But now the situation has completely transformed. The demand for candidates in the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna has more than tripled.
With trendy fashion collections bringing style to Vallavatta. Opening from March 12th at number 42A Gall Road, Vallavatta. Ready for you.
Susie Clothing Store.
Prefect. Tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. on TV1.
5 villages, helpless, without clean water. A daily struggle to quench that thirst. But Gammatha brought hope, clean water, through a life-changing purification system. New hope for Behrayaya. Gammatha, for the people, by the people.
Today marks the commemoration day of the fallen police heroes. A ceremony to honor this occasion was held at the Police Heroes Memorial located at the Police Field Force headquarters in Bambalapitiya under the patronage of Acting IGP Attorney Priyantha Veerasurya.
A ceremonial parade took place today to mark the 161st commemoration day of the fallen police heroes, followed by the offering of floral tributes at the Police Heroes Memorial. The event was attended by several senior officials, including retired IJPs and officers who were disabled in the line of duty. Financial assistance was provided to the families of 30 deceased police officers and 20 officers who were permanently disabled while serving.
Police officers give their all to protect the public, often at great personal cost. They remain committed to maintaining law and order, preventing the spread of harmful subcultures and ensuring the safety of all. Sadly, many police officers lose their lives while carrying out this duty. Those who join the force in the future will continue to serve with pride, standing as protectors of our society. Our police force has a strong commitment to creating a peaceful environment, and I encourage every officer to continue their work with courage, compassion and dedication.
The Sri Lanka Medical Association organized a policy forum on safety at healthcare settings yesterday. Discussions at the event highlighted matters including advancements in primary healthcare, as well as the alarming statistics on sexual harassment and domestic violence in the country.
The Sri Lanka Medical Association hosted a policy forum on safety in healthcare settings in Colombo. Dr. Janaki Vidanapathirana, Director of Planning at the Ministry of Health, highlighted Sri Lanka's remarkable achievements in healthcare despite a lower doctor-to-population ratio compared to developed countries.
When we take the doctor-population ratio, that is 1.19 doctors per 100,000 people. When we compare to the other developed countries, USA 3.61, Sweden 7.15. So then it is a real miracle for us to achieve these things. So out of this, this is a very important slide. When we take the OPD's attendance by different hospital categories, you can see from the 2015 to 2023, from the primary healthcare setup, it has been increased. 2023, it is out of all the hospital attendance, we are catering for 60% of population. So this is one of the achievement we have changed, because ministry wants to remove all these OPDs from the tertiary and secondary, because they have more targeted intervention for patients rather than giving OPD treatment.
Deputy Inspector General Renuka Jayasundara of the Sri Lanka Police has revealed alarming statistics on sexual harassment and domestic violence in the country.
We know actually according to our society conditions, we don't get all the cases reported. When we talk about 2023 statistics, it is clearly, I can say, 2,252 cases have been reported of sexual harassment against women. So when we talk about the places where these sexual harassment has been happened, in-house premises 1,420, in public transport 261, online 192, on roads 117, working place 41, schools and classes 20, and religious places 9, and other places 192. I think same statistic even in year 2024, but I can say when we talk about violence, the most cases which contains violence is domestic violence, because 130,000 per year we get domestic violence complaints. So actually when we talk about the law enforcement agency in Sri Lanka, the police, we are ready to conduct these kind of investigations, entertain these kind of complaints. We have introduced a hotline to get reported these complaints, because there are background reasons. People, they don't like to go to police stations and make their complaints. We know when we analyze all the cases, they come to police stations after some days of the offense. So even domestic violence.
Discussions highlighted advancements in primary healthcare, an increase in sexual harassment cases, and the need to improve patient safety by tackling medical errors and unsafe practices.
And on to news overseas. Britain's Heathrow Airport was shut today after a huge fire at a nearby electrical substation knocked out its power, disrupting flight schedules around the world. Due to this, Sri Lankan Airlines flights from Colombo to London and from London to Colombo, originally scheduled for today, have been cancelled.
London's Heathrow Airport announced a complete shutdown on Friday due to a significant power outage due to a large fire nearby, causing massive disruption to one of the world's busiest travel hubs, as flights were forced to turn back mid-air or divert to other locations. A transformer at an electrical substation in a London suburb located just a few miles from the airport caught fire on Thursday night. Videos shared on social media showed huge flames and smoke rising into the air. The Heathrow Airport shutdown could affect tens of thousands of travellers. Spread across 4 terminals and located 14 miles west of central London, it usually runs at 99% capacity, with every major airline passing through, meaning it's always very busy. Airline Analytics estimated that upwards of 145,000 passengers could be impacted. Due to the temporary closure of the Heathrow Airport, Sri Lankan Airlines flights UL503 from Colombo to London, scheduled to depart at 12:50 p.m. and UL504 from London to Colombo, scheduled to depart at 8:40 p.m. on the 21st of March, will not operate. Sri Lankan Airlines in a statement today apologized for the inconvenience caused. The airline said that it is closely monitoring the situation and will resume flights to London as soon as Heathrow reopens. Prime Minister of Canada Mark Carney has announced that his government will eliminate the goods and services tax for first-time home buyers to address Canada's housing crisis. The tax cut applies to all new and substantially renovated homes at or under $1 million and is set to save Canadians up to $50,000.
This funding announced today will help residents get back home faster, rebuild the town stronger than ever, and also build out the park infrastructure. Access to housing is the foundation for success. Without housing, it's hard to focus on your future. Without housing, it's hard to start a family. And without housing, we can't build the strongest economy in the G7. And the reality today is that when Canadians, particularly young Canadians across the country, are doing everything right, studying hard, getting a good education or training, securing a well-paying job, saving up, they often barely have enough to pay the rent. Housing is just too expensive, and it's a problem that we in the government are now addressing head-on.
The elimination of the GST will result in lower upfront housing costs, allowing Canadians to retain more money. The policy change is also predicted to stimulate the construction of new homes across the country, effectively increasing the housing supply. The Sudanese army has seized full control of the presidential palace in downtown Khartoum. The Sudanese army said in a statement that it seized full control of the presidential palace in downtown Khartoum today in one of the most symbolic gains in a two-year-old conflict with a rival armed group that has threatened to partition the country. The army had long been on the back foot but has recently been making gains and has retaken territory in the centre of the country from the Parliamentary Rapid Support Forces. Meanwhile, the RSF has consolidated control in the west, hardening battle lines and moving the country towards de facto partition. The RSF is working to set up a parallel government in areas it controls, although that is not expected to receive widespread international recognition. The army said it had also taken control of ministries and other key buildings in central Khartoum. Military sources said RSF fighters had withdrawn about 400 meters away. And that's a wrap of your news for tonight.
Good night and take care.